Hey everyone, and welcome back to my Completionist playthrough of the Baldur's Gate Saga with SCS. And in this episode, our main task is going to be to confront Gromnir Il-Khan, the tyrant of Saradush himself. But before we do that, we actually have a few minor things to take care of first. In the previous episode I forgot to loot these guys, for example, and actually before we do it this time, let's give ourselves some space in our inventory. But not only that, not only these axes, there's also a wall container a little bit earlier on that I also forgot to open. Perhaps I was too preoccupied with fighting this mage over here, but there it is. Now we can get the 20 bullets plus 3 that it holds, and that's of course the type of loot that we cannot leave without. Anyway, and that's not all. Now we're going to go into Saradush, actually through this main entrance to the castle. Now we can open it from the inside. So for all of the people that wondered how to get inside Gromnir's castle, well, now the gates are wide open, so feel free to take a look, see what you can do. But anyway, believe it or not, there are still 2 spells that I somehow failed to properly scribe on our mages. This protection from normal weapons is just a blank spot in Senashira's spellbook. That's not going to matter. But this power word blind here, Imoen actually needs. It might have been the case that I just took one of the other power words from Lazarus because they all look so similar. But anyway, Imoen actually needs power word blind for the upcoming encounter. I want to have it memorized on her. But this mini scribing session is going to be the last one for a very, very long time. And now we should be truly set when it comes to our spells. And yeah, speaking of spells, I've actually reworked our spellbooks a little bit in between recordings. Especially Jaheira got some new spells, Senashira, like we have this very unorthodox triple death spell here, which we're going to talk about soon. But anyway, next up on our list of tasks to do is actually getting Saravok a non-magical two-handed sword, because he still doesn't have one. Alright, now he's going to be set, and actually now that our intelligence is buffed, we can identify that studded leather plus 2. Oh yeah, we're also going to release our familiar so it can rest with us and get his AoE invisibility spell back. And I think that is it for now. Now we can rest for a little while. I'm actually going to leave the familiar outside because we are going to have a use for his spell. Let's just heal up fully and set up our sequencers and spell triggers. So Senashira is going to get a triple death spell trigger, which is very, very unusual, because death spell is a spell that just works if you need it to, generally. It basically just kills creatures up to level and including level 8. And that's the top level that it still affects, and there's no saving throw for that. And level 8 is also the level of the creature that we want to dispose of in this way in the upcoming encounter. So you might be wondering, why do I need 3 death spells unleashed at the same time when just one of them would do the job just as well? But the problematic detail about the creature we want to kill through death spell in the upcoming encounter is that she has 20 magic resistance, and that means that if we only unleashed 1 death spell through our Skull of Death, for example, there would be a chance that this creature would just lock out with its 20 magic resistance and just be able to avoid the effect, because death spell does not bypass magic resistance. So we're just going to make sure about this, unleash 3 of them at the same time, and there should be no chance for that creature to survive that. And we're also going to create a spell sequencer on Imoen with triple remove magic. And Senashira already has a sequencer of that type, but in this encounter Senashira is going to be busy elsewhere, and I want to have the triple remove magic available on Imoen. And this type of tool, we'll see how useful it's going to be. There is a chance that the 2 mages that we're going to encounter in the fight are actually both going to have spell immunity to abjuration. We'll see. But anyway, if there is a chance for this to work, Imoen is going to unleash the triple remove magic, and Senashira is going to do some other stuff. Alright. now I think we are more or less ready. We can return to the castle and prepare for the fight itself. Our familiar is going to be lagging a little bit behind because of course it cannot enjoy the benefits of boots of speed, but anyway, there we go. There we go. Alright, so of course we're going to start out with some long-lasting buffs. Actually, even Kiranai has a Stoneskin Scroll prepared and some other stuff. Even has a Wand of Cloud Kill that she is probably going to use.
I shall go forth at your command.
We're going to give everybody chaotic commands coming from Animen, so that they are as hard to dispel as possible. Now, of course, that Animen is level 28. His buffs should be pretty resilient and resistant to enemy remove magic, so we're not going to use Jaheira's chaotic commands. And in general, for that reason, now that Animen is so high level, that his buffs should be pretty reliable at staying at the targets. We are actually going to have prepared double regeneration on him as well. Hopefully that will stay on. And also another aspect of his high level is that his personal buffs, for example, the buffs, and that's true for our party in general, but especially for Animen, now that he is level 28, his personal buffs like Holy Power or Righteous Magic, that last for 1 round per level, well, now that he is 28, they basically last for almost 3 turns, which is a very respectable duration for all of these buffs. Yes. And we're actually going to start casting them with him already. Actually, first I should have casted Spirit Armor. I'm going to rectify that mistake here. Now on our mages, I think we're going to want to have some Spell Turning and Spell Trap. So Spell Turning is going to go to Imoen, and Spell Trap is going to be a protection that Sinashira is going to apply.
Ready and willing. Something up?
I hear you well enough.
Speak.
Right, now we're done with that. We're actually going to leave the Twig and Bow with the normal arrows on Imoen, at least for the beginning stages of this encounter. I think she might also use Cloud Kill. We'll have to see what the situation is like. The first thing she's going to do is either unleash a Cloud Kill or unleash that triple remove magic, I think. We'll see how that's going to go.
Yes. Time to move?
Alright, next I think we're going to just simply haste everybody with the normal haste. But we're also going to allow ourselves to use the improved haste coming from our cloaks, since this is a proper boss fight. Alright, you have that, Animen. Now you can, I think, dispense the regenerations. I think we're going to have regeneration on Animen and on Jaheira, because there's going to be a lot of potential physical damage going on in the fight, and other characters are either going to be able to kind of stay out of trouble or protect themselves in different ways, whereas I think Animen and Jaheira, I want them to have that healing going on them. Regeneration coming from Animen now is going to last for 14 rounds, so still a decent duration. So we're going to apply that before, like, Blade Barrier, for example. Now I think is the time for some mirror images on our mages. Now let's also give this cloak to Kiranai just for a moment. She's going to apply that improved haste from it. Yeah, we need to de-equip that. We're also going to want to enter with some True Seeing and True Sight going on. So Animen is going to cast that, and then a few seconds afterwards, Imoen is going to do so. We also have Albruin on Saravok for that Detect Invisibility. We basically are going to aim to uncover the mages that are probably going to be invisible as soon as possible. Just do not let them kind of even a second to breathe. And okay, now we can, I guess, apply these improved hastes.
Yes.
The improved haste coming from the cloaks lasts for 23 rounds, so a very respectable duration as well. Now Jaheira can get her cloak back. We can get Kiranai re-equipped. Right, and now we're going to cast that invisibility. Because basically invisibility is not going to be that important in the upcoming fight, especially since Gromnir himself can see invisible. But we're of course going to talk about him in detail a little bit later. But it's basically so that some other characters, especially a certain Wizard Slayer, does not come and attack any of our characters before we reveal ourselves at our leisure once we are already repositioned. Because we kind of start in a... not in the greatest of spots at the beginning of the encounter. Alright, now that we have that invisibility, but of course I made the same mistake again with Jaheira being out of range. It's no big deal. Alright, now that we have that, we can apply Globes of Invulnerability on our mages and just the finishing touches of spell immunity to Abjuration. That is going to go on Imoen, on Senashira, and on Kirina as well. Alright, and now we should be almost ready. Let's just have drop on Holy Might. And let's just wait for a couple of seconds so that we can cast immediately, and now is the time.
Your guards threaten me with arrest if I did not accompany them. I do not take kindly to threats, Gromnir. What is it you want?
Gromnir knows a stranger came to Saradush. Pretty Melisande, another ball spawn. You must think Gromnir too stupid not to remember there is no way in or out of the city.
You fool, Gromnir! That stranger may be our only hope of escaping this siege alive.
Gromnir knows the truth. We is no idiot. Melisande has brought this outsider in to kill Gromnir. Ballspawn mean nothing. Yaga-Shura is Ballspawn. He wants Gromnir's head too. Ha! Ha! Foolish Melisande is plotting against Gromnir. Melisande is plotting the ruin of all the children of Bhaal.
You are mad, Gromnir. Have I not always aided you and all the other Ballspawn? I brought you here to protect you. It was your paranoia that brought Yaga-Shura upon us.
Mad? Paranoid? No! Gromnir finally understands how Melisande lied. Melisande lured Gromnir into a death trap. Tell Gromnir where the Ballspawn assassin is hiding.
Hiding? The stranger is not hiding, Gromnir. If you were not holed up in this castle, you two could have had a meeting when the stranger first arrived.
Gromnir will never meet with this Ballspawn of yours. Ha! Gromnir is wise to Melisandre's schemes. Melisande wants to turn Ballspawn against Ballspawn until all are dead.
Your madness will be your death, Gromnir, nothing else. The death of you and all those who foolishly follow you.
Take Melisande away, but watch closely. Gromnir knows that Melisande is tricky. Melisande lies. Melisande deceives.
So this is going to be the end of their exchange. And from this conversation you could see that Melisande did not exactly speak like a peacefully inclined guardian of the Ballspawn. And of course, at a glance, Gromnir seems like a madman, or sounds like a madman, but there's actually, you know, more truth and wisdom in what he says than it's apparent at first. And of course, on your first playthrough, you know, you might just kind of disregard everything that Gromnir says as like raving of a madman. But you know, upon subsequent playthroughs, you actually see that well, everything is not as it seems. Let's just leave it at that for now.
So, the assassin is here. Ah, good fun.
Anyway, now the fight is going to start. And for now there's going to be 7 opponents here, but there are going to be some reinforcements coming from the southeast shortly after the fight starts. So basically this fight is going to, of course, be heavily changed by Ascension. And well, let's talk about all of these guys, starting from the more minor characters first, I guess. By the way, all of them are neutral aligned, so stuff like Holy Smite is not going to affect them. Even Gromnir himself is chaotic neutral. But anyway, first we have Brenna Elcan, which I've mentioned that name before in the playthrough, because her last name is so similar to Elhan or Eltan. But anyway, here with our mods, she is going to be a level 18 Wizard Slayer, with 181 HP and actually 5 attacks per round, and she also ends up with a ridiculously high magic resistance, like 90. But anyway, I think that's important about her, besides her normal wizard slaying ability of applying that 25% in Enhanced Edition spellcasting spell failure debuff that stacks, is also the fact that she has a very special weapon, and that spear she's wielding is a +3 weapon that removes both spell protections and combat protections upon hit. So this is a completely unique type of thing. It's not like Karsamir or Staff of the Magi that cast Dispel magic, but this one essentially applies Breach and Spell Strike on hit. So this is extremely, extremely deadly. Also, that weapon has its own, like, further miscast magic spell failure effect that it applies. So yeah, we basically started out invisible to reposition and have Senashira, who is going to take the eastern side of the whole encounter by herself, and hopefully she can deal with Brenna Elcan and also with Eller Had here, that we're going to talk about in a second, on her own, and we can reposition our invisible characters into a more suitable place where they are more or less safe from her and her, like, insane dispel ability. So then we have Eller Had, which is a level 16 thief, but he is a bit of a amalgamation of different abilities, because he actually has access to Barbarian Rage, and he also has a special weapon. Well, from range he can throw these poisoned daggers, these ones, that we are actually going to use in the encounter as well. I think first with Kirinai. But anyway, he has these daggers, and his melee weapon is a unique one. It's actually considered a non-magical, like non-enchanted weapon, but it's a dagger that can slow and poison on hit, so kind of dangerous if he can poison a spellcaster. Just a very big inconvenience, especially considering the whole environment of this fight, which is, you know, we're kind of surrounded by many people. There's going to be a lot of things going on in this fight at the same time, and we are not going to have a lot of time to do what we want to do. So basically, especially now that we have lost Edwin and we only have 2 mages, we're going to have to be very selective about our spells and always aim to do in our rounds something that will have the biggest impact by far. And we can't really, you know, do anything like too minor on our characters, like waste a round on you know, drinking an elixir of health or something is going to be pretty detrimental, because we have our hands full of things we need to do in this encounter, and very little time to do it. Next up we have this Il-Khan soldier, which is just an archer. She has like 2 arrows of dispelling, but she usually just uses other arrows first. She is the weakest link of the whole encounter. Now let's talk about this beast here, which normally is not there. This is an addition by Ascension, and this is kind of my one gripe with Ascension, which is a pretty minor one, but the fact is that when they introduce new creatures into the fight, and this is going to only be apparent really one more time after this, they just reuse names that are already you know, used by other, sometimes pretty prominent characters somewhere else in the Baldur's Gate saga. So this here wildcat, this leopard or whatever, is called Ramazith. Like, you remember the mage Ramazith from Baldur's Gate City? Good eve on you and yours, my friend. The one that wanted us to steal Abella, and who resided in his tower. Well, this beast now is called Ramazith. Also, the reinforcements that are going to show up are also new creatures completely. There's going to be a level 16 cleric who is a minotaur, actually, and he's going to be called none other than Halbazar Drin. Remember our boy Halbazar from Sorceress Sundries, also in Baldur's Gate City? Well, now here, this is going to be a name used by some Minotaur cleric. And also this other creature I was talking about earlier, when we talked about our death spells, is going to be Yaga-Shura, who is going to be a succubus, or some kind of a demonic lady. And Yaga-Shura is a name elsewhere, or used elsewhere in Throne of Bhaal. It's actually a spider in Sendai's place that has that name. Anyway, this beast here doesn't really do anything special, it's just one other source of physical damage, I guess. Then we have the two mages. This Elkin Battle Mage is a level 18 mage, so of course has access to level 9 spells. You know, full set of pre-buffs, of course, so not to be underestimated, but she is the weaker of the pair. And then we have Karun the Black, who is a 24 mage, or level 24. So he has also access to high-level abilities. And we'll see what kind of pre-buffs they're going to get and how we're going to be able to best attack them. But they are going to be our top priority in this fight at the very beginning. And then finally we have Gromnir Il-Khan himself. And he is a level 24 barbarian, but this is again kind of meant to be interpreted loosely, I guess, because, for example, he's wearing plate mail, which barbarians normally can't use, and he also has access to Berserker Rage, and some other high-level warrior abilities also, of course. So he has essentially 300 HP. He starts out with 285, but once he buffs up himself with that Berserker Rage, he's going to get the other 15 to nicely round up his health pool. He also has a problematic 25 magic resistance, which is problematic because we don't really have time to cast lower resistance on him to make sure that some of our spells and strategies are going to work like 100%. We do have one lower resistance cast on Imoen, and we probably are going to use it a little bit later, but at the very beginning we just have no time to spare to use it. So some spells and some of our strategies might not work because of the random, 25% chance of him just his magic resistance just blocking our spell. So we're going to have a couple of different things that we will want to apply onto Gromnir. In general, when it comes to this encounter, when it comes to a lot of the different guys, they have their own resistances, either like magic resistance, or they have their immunities coming from like a barbarian rage like Eller had. Affecting them with most debilitating effects is not going to work, but they are mostly vulnerable to slow and blindness, and those are going to be the two effects that we are going to want to apply through various means to Gromnir, at least. The guys on the right, I'm going to aim to kill them as quickly as possible. But anyway, back to Gromnir. He also has 50% magic damage resistance and 45 physical resistance. Basically 20 coming from the fact that he is a barbarian, and another 25, to make him tougher. He also has very good Thaco in armor class, and he is the last person who has a special weapon. His Morningstar, when it's wielded by him here, applies a disease on the target, which slows, deals periodic poison damage, and also drains strength. He also sees invisible, like it was mentioned, so even if you are, you can't really like drink a quick potion of invisibility to get out of trouble when you're slowed, diseased, and he is just destroying you with his physical damage. But anyway, that's it for now. There's going to be two other guys. We're going to talk about them a little bit once they show up. And now at the beginning of this encounter, we want to reposition ourselves, and preferably in a way so that we don't block one another. So let's actually have Saravok go up there. Alright, Imoen needs to go down. Oh, kind of down. Let's also have Anomen approach 4th, and also Jaheira, but not too closely, because of course they can have their horrid wilting chain contingency at the start. And we are going to want to position Sinashira on our eastern flank as quickly as possible here. Alright. So here, that special spear that Brenna Elcan wields, and the special dagger that Eller has. By the way, he pre-buffed with his Barbarian Rage, and Gromnir has the Berserker Enrage. Anyway, here, how we're going to protect Senashira is by using mantles and improved mantles that we actually have memorized quite a few of. That's because, you know, Eller's had weapon is non-magical, which she is immune to anyway, but of course we had a greater need of for level 6 spell slots, so I went for level 7 and level 8 mantles to counter Brenna Elcan and her +3 spear. So we're going to give ourselves that, so that the weapon cannot even connect to us, and we don't really have to worry about it. Next, from Kirinai, I think first we're going to throw in 1 Cloud Kill. Of course she can use wands because she has used any item now, and we're going to aim it a little bit to the south, I think, because we don't really want to stand in it all the time, but since Karen the Black, he is probably going to have more formidable pre-buffs, I want to at least have a chance at interrupting him before we can really get to him. So 1 Cloud Kill there it is. We're going to wait a little bit with Imoen, because we need to figure out whether we need a Cloud Kill, another one, or if we can unleash that triple remove magic. And I'm not sure if I... Yeah, we still have Storm of Vengeance memorized on Anomen, but I'm not really going to cast it, because it just takes too long. We need Anomen's damage way more than his casts here. And Jaheira is going to unleash a quick Dolorous Decay onto Gromnir, and provided that his magic resistance does not block it, at least he's going to be slowed for 2 rounds. So this is going to buy us some time from like fully experiencing his damaging capabilities. And yeah, I think this is it. Alright, now we have Senashira protected. Their illusions are dispelled by a nice tick of Anomen's True Seeing. And that's actually... okay, let's take a closer look. They of course have tons of pre-buffs here. Alright, so they actually both have spell immunity to Abjuration. And they also have some Horrid Wiltings. Hopefully Jaheira should be out of range of the Horrid Wiltings there. Alright, so we're not going to unleash our triple remove magic, but we're going to unleash another Cloud Kill. And then we're going to remove the Cloud Kills later, I think. Alright, Saravok actually does not need to use any detect invisibility. Let's keep him hidden for now. He's going to reveal himself in a second. We just need to wait for these Horrid Wiltings to go off. And Senashira, with her nice 9 attacks, should be able to cut through even the almost 200 HP that Brenna Elcan has quite handily, or at least that is the plan. Alright, Dolorous Decay. Alright, Gromnir had magic resistance. I think that pertained to this Dolorous Decay, so he's not going to be slowed, of course. That is our luck. But anyway. Alright, so apparently Jaheira was in range of that Horrid Wilting. Alright, now that this initial stuff has been cast, also Brenna Elcan has hardiness, so the damage we're able to offer to her is not going to be that spectacular. Also, Gromnir seems to be trying to attack Imoen, perhaps. Alright, she unleashed her Cloud Kill. And I think what we're going to do is throw these poison daggers at Karun the Black. Hopefully he's not going to save against too many of them. We also improved Hasted Kirinai because of this reason, so that she can, you know, throw all of these pretty quickly. And now these mages, yeah, have protection from magical weapons, so we're just going to switch to our normal weapons, and we're just going to go full out when it comes to attacking these mages. We unfortunately are not going to have Senashira with us to aid or add that damage of hers, but we're going to send Saravok, Anomen, and Jaheira to cut through this battle mage's defenses, I think, and hopefully Kirinai, by throwing these poison daggers, can poison Karun and interrupt him. Together with these Cloud Kills, we should be able to kind of limit their spell casting at least to some degree. Alright, the Battle Mage was able to unleash Spell Thrust on Senashira, which is not going to work because she has Globe of Invulnerability. Also, yeah, it seems like our Cloud Kills are doing work, interrupting their spells. Oh, actually, Kirinai already poisoned Karun the Black. That is fantastic. And that poison, actually, coming from Kirinai's poison effect, not from the Cloud Kill, managed to interrupt him. That's great. Now you can throw some daggers onto the other mage then, and see what we can do there. And I guess Imoen can start shooting her bow. Alright, Brenna Elcan is already badly injured. That's what I want to see. Alright, some offhands, I guess, hit, so that our people informed us that their weapons have no effect. Come on, Saradush. Alright, there we go. Now Ellerhad. The reinforcements have not still have not appeared, but we want to move Emoen out of there. Is the battle mage already dead? I think... Alright, she cast improved invisibility from a spell sequencer, but died anyway. I guess we had so many sources of damage that it was too much for her. Gromnir has Warcry.
Time to move? No problem at all.
We don't care about that at all.
What is it?
Actually forgot to pre-buff with this, which is incredibly important. I'm just thinking about these reinforcements that are about to show up. And now I've realized that Saradush was not protected from petrification, which is incredibly important.
Yep, you can count on me.
Alright, Karen. Badly injured. Of course we're receiving some damage from our own cloud kills and from his fire shields, but this is a trade we are eagerly going to engage in in order to dispose of him completely.
What do you want? This way?
Alright, let's just move everyone else out of the vision of Yaga-Shura here. So she is some kind of a demonic entity, some kind of a succubus, and basically her special attack is a petrification attack that also poisons. So there are two different saving throws involved in that. The save versus polymorph and petrification. You know, for that effect, that flesh to stone effect, it's just going to be in the combat log stated as like she casted flesh to stone, but actually this comes from her weapon attack. And also this can poison, and the poison actually comes with a -4 saving throw penalty. So we'll see if Saradush gets affected by that. Because I forgot to pre-buff her with that protection from petrification. That was something that she cast, you know, very like just 1 or 2 seconds ago, so her round is not yet finished, so I'm going to continue attacking Ellerhad with her. But of course, this triple death spell is prepared for Yaga-Shura specifically. And she has 20 magic resistance, so, you know, just a single death spell might not have worked on her, but with triple package of those death spells, she should have no chance against that. And here's Halbazar Drin, which is a kind of a cleric, but I think he has 2 attacks per round. And he's level 16, so he's going to have some pre-buffs, but he is not really that dangerous. We're mostly concerned about Karun the Black right now. Ellerhad to, well, a little bit, a little extent, I guess, and Yaga-Shura, who just entered. And you don't really want to have any, like, unprotected people here because of that petrification. Of course, that can instantly end the life of somebody. Alright, so now we are done with the mages. Now we can actually equip our proper weapons. Actually, now Kirnai, I think, is going to go into melee. There has not been yet a need for her to apply this mantle. This is mostly the improved mantle against Gromnir, because against his +4 enchanted weapon. But yeah, I think we're going to go into melee with her now. I'm going to just get rid of Ramazith here. Actually, just to have this fight be kind of clean, let's have the zone of sweet air to remove these cloud kills so that we don't receive damage ourselves, and so that it doesn't interrupt our spells or something. Especially since from Emoen I would like to apply this powered blind onto Gromnir. We'll see if this is going to be effective. Yeah, coming from Yaga-Shura, there was this flesh to stone trying to affect Saradush, but you know, that's kind of a special attack that she has. Anyway, now we can try and unleash that triple death spell onto her, and we'll see if that's going to be effective. Alright, the beastie is dead. Now we can focus our attention onto Gromnir. Alright, triple death spell is unleashed. Oh my god, Gromnir is like the luckiest dude ever. He used his magic resistance again against our powered blind coming from Emoen. So this is not going to work. Now Emoen can actually switch to her normal stuff. and can perhaps add some damage there. Alright, Baldur has Sanctuary, so we can't really do anything against him right now, so let's just get rid of this Il-Khan soldier before she decides to use her arrows of dispelling. Alright, Lashara is dead. That's the consequence of only having so few levels there, only being level 8. Alright, these cloud kills are now gone, and I think now what we're going to do is get Jaheira a little bit out of there. Well, perhaps this is not going to really matter all that much now that the fight is essentially done. But, you know, I had this lower resistance prepared for Gromnir to lower his 25 resistance, so it does not be problematic at this point in the fight where we don't have tons of stuff to do anymore. And let's actually wait a little bit on that. Alright, here's Baldur. We're going to finish him off with Senashira. Alright, Gromnir now is slowed by our fantastic Flail of Ages. That's what we've been counting on when it comes to Anomen. And it seems like something that I prepared for Jaheira is not going to really come into effect, because we can now just bunch up, gang on Gromnir, and just finish him off. But basically I prepared this Nature's Beauty level 7 spell on Jaheira, which is an AoE instant death spell that allows a saving throw, and this is not why we memorized it, but also without any saving throw it just blinds around Jaheira, only opponents. So this is a nice thing to have in some situations. The casting time is not that great, so you know it is possible to pretty easily get interrupted. But if you construct a situation where Jaheira could cast kind of safely, we would be able to blind opponents like Gromnir here. That's basically what I wanted this to have at our disposal for. Oh, by the way, Saravok, you're also attacking with the wrong weapon. But yeah, I don't think this is actually going to be necessary. I am going to let this be casted, this lower resistance, to wipe him clean, and then perhaps apply this blindness, but it seems like Gromnir's reign is about to end very soon here. Alright, Baldur tried to cast something, was interrupted by Senashira. Alright, what are you doing there? Warcry is not going to save you. Okay, Gromnir is already badly injured. Yeah, so I'm not going to even attempt to use Nature's Beauty. We're going to try to find another situation to use that spell and showcase something different. But yeah, now let's just keep attacking Gromnir, and even his resistances did not help him in the end.
Lay aside your weapons! We must work together to... No! I am too late to stop the bloodshed. You have slain Gromnir, and many other bullspawn as well.
She is there. That scream, no! That always cracks me up. Very fortunate timing for you, Melisande. I thought Gromnir's guards took you away. I am not without my own resources, Senashira. Gromnir's men left me in my cell when the battle started. I escaped as soon as I could, but I was too late. I suppose this was inevitable. I knew the chance of Gromnir joining you was slim, Senashira, but I thought he might listen to reason. I was desperate to end this siege, and I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to stop like every conversation we have with Melisande, the way this is going so far. Oh man, I loved it. This music is going to not stop for a little bit longer still. Alright, my apologies for that. Anyway, now I fear we are all doomed. There is no way out of Saradush. Between the army and the stage strange imprisoning magics, even our wizards are trapped here. There is yet hope, Melisande. I am able to leave the city. We haven't really seen that in action yet, but we are going to. Basically, what we're referring to here is our ability to teleport ourselves into our pocket plane at will. You can leave Saradush? Yes, of course. You find your way into the city, it is only logical to expect you can find your way out. Why didn't I think of that earlier? Well, didn't you? If you can leave, then the city can still be saved. They have endured so much. We must help them. Sinashira, if you can leave, then only you have the means to do that. Understand, Sinashira, that this siege is but the beginning. Until this threat is ended, it doesn't matter where we go. We are in danger of being exterminated by Yaga-Shura and his allies. Eventually, even you would be overwhelmed by their power. I know more about them, Sinashira, more than I'm saying. But I won't tell you everything unless you try to save Saradush. You've tread a thin line, Melisande. Well, anyway, let's actually, you know, we are, of course, Sinashira is as good a protagonist as possible, so let's do this one. You do not have to bargain with me, Melisande. I would help these people no matter what the circumstances. It is not my first choice to do this, Sinashira. However, in my dealings with the children of Bhaal, I have learned that sometimes the ends must justify the means. This is also the same response I think she gives whenever we use that manipulation line. Alright, so tell me what needs to be done. The army itself is immaterial. If you fought your way to Yaga-Shura himself and defeated him, the force would collapse. But that's not a simple matter. He is a powerful fire giant to begin with. Imoen has a little response here. Apparently being disgusting, mating with fire giants. Is it any more an abomination than a ball-spawn human? Bhaal was a god of pure evil. His taint is an abomination in any form. Fair enough. It is not that simple to kill Yaga-Shura. Like you, Yaga-Shura is one of the most powerful ball-spawn to walk the realms. I know not what gifts your blood has passed on to you, but I can tell you something of his. The giant seems to be invulnerable to harm. Arrows, blades, even the most powerful of our spells and enchanted weapons leave no permanent mark. He heals faster than we can wound him. Are you saying Yaga-Shura is invincible? Yaga-Shura was not born with this immunity. He developed it, learned it, somehow, during his childhood spent in a secret glade in the forest of Mir. I can show you where that glade is, but it is only speculation. The key to the giant's invulnerability might lie there, but it might not. There may be nothing there at all. And if that's the case, then there is only one other place to look, though it is far more dangerous. Yaga-Shura has attracted a large number of fanatical devotees of his kind. They worship him as a god, as you can well imagine. They built a temple to him in the Marching Mountains. Many of them are in his army now. That may mean the temple is vulnerable to your attack. Perhaps Yaga-Shura's secret lies there. I don't know. Well, we have no choice but to accept this mission. I know it is much to ask of you. Whether it means anything to you or not, thank you. Now I must attend to the wall's defenses. However you leave, I suggest you do so as soon as possible. Godspeed, Sinashira. I pray you succeed in your mission for all of our sakes. Alright, so she just...
The seeds that our sire sowed long ago are about to come to fruition. For good or ill, the issue will be finally resolved very soon.
Right, I was just about to comment on how she just teleported somewhere instantly. But Sarvok comes at us with his second conversation. In this one, again, we have the option to increase that alignment change variable by 2. Or actually in this conversation, this is the first one where we can actually decrease that variable by saying some different stuff. Anyway, so of course, yeah, the issue will be resolved very soon of the ball-spawn prophecy. This isn't exactly how you thought it would happen, right? I once thought that I was the one spoken of by Alondo's prophecy. That is true. You may be the one as well, although that has yet to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Still, once this is all over, my use to you will be at an end. I have no oath to continue service, so my question is thus. What will you do with me then? And you'll be free to go as you wish. And this is something that I think already increases our... actually, I think this leads to... yeah. From here, we can actually have some conversation responses that either increase that variable or decrease it. So of course, if we don't care, this is going to decrease that variable by 1. But if we say that we would wish him the best, or that his... I think I'm going to go with this one. Your destiny is your own to forge, Sarvok. Make the same mistakes if you must. Oh, that's of course in response to him saying, you would allow me to leave? We would just part ways, and I would be free to carry out whatever plans I wish, no matter what they might be? Yes. And do you believe I have another choice? And this is the second part where we can advance that variable by one more point by saying another choice than being evil? Always. Or this one. It all depends on whether or not you want to end up in the safe place, Saravok. The same place. And of course I couldn't care less, do as you like. I think this one makes the variable go down by 1 point. Anyway, I see. I will think on your words then, sister. So we have given him some more stuff to think about. Now finally, we can take care of this disease coming from Gromnir's weapon that Kiranai is affected by. Oh wow, this does not work on that.
I am ready.
Oh yeah, of course, because Cure Disease is an abjuration spell, and she still has that spell immunity to abjuration. But neutralize poison should do. Alright, now we're fine. Okay, so now we can loot the guys before we finish the episode. So yeah, for us, Brenna Elcan's spear, of course, is just going to be a normal +3 spear, but when she wielded it, it was something much, much more fearsome. Okay, we didn't even have to use the scroll here of Improved Mantle. We're going to have to kind of get our equipment in order as well. Now that we are done with this encounter. Alright, here we have the Blade of the Dark, +1, kind of something that we have seen in Baldur's Gate 1. We have so much stuff prepared and collected to sell. I think I'm going to have to sell some of it. Well, actually, we are going to unlock that that merchant very soon, so this is actually just in time. Here we have the Grandmaster's armor coming from Eller Had, and this is a leather armor that doubles movement rate. This is something that normally Kiranai would be a great target to wear normally, but of course we have made sure that she had a pair of boots of speed of her own, so that we can use different armors on her. And I think soon we are going to call upon Jan Jansen to give us his armor, and we even get some of these poison daggers again. That's why I kind of allowed myself to use the ones that we had pretty liberally here to make sure that the two mages get interrupted. Yeah, here are the arrows of dispelling, arrows of piercing, and arrows +1 coming from that Il-Khan soldier.
Pick it up yourself. I'll carry no more.
Okay there, dude. I'm just trying to organize some stuff. Actually, we of course can use his bag of holding for this. I kind of forgot that we had so many of them now. And yeah, and finally, Gromnir's loot himself, or Gromnir himself and his loot. Now we can search through his possessions. We get a rogue stone, which is going to be very nice for us, because we need 2 in total for some crafting. Now we have one of those 2 already. And let's check it out, check out some stuff that he had. So first of all, he has this Aurora horn, which is just great for certain situations, providing us with 50% crushing resistance. So that, of course, combined with either hardiness or armor of faith, or the Defender of East Haven, it can make you almost immune or totally immune to some dangerous opponents that deal crushing damage. Unfortunately, this is going to be used as a reagent to upgrade the Staff of the Ram, so we will eventually use or lose it. But for now, I think Saravok is just going to keep it on his head, and we're probably going to switch it around whenever we need it for something, for a more specific purpose. Then we have this Lavender's Iron Stone, which is kind of a decent upgrade for what Senashira is wearing right now. She only has this like armor class Iron Stone. This one provides us with a bonus to save versus death and a bonus of 4, which is very good for mages because save versus death is their weakest saving throw. So I think we're going to just keep it on Senashira for now, but of course this is not yet set in stone. Perhaps I think the Circlet of Netheril is going to be the best kept on Imoen, but we also have this Pale Green Iron Stone, which improves Thaco and hit points. This is also something that would benefit Senashira quite a bit, and especially since Kiranai can wear any helmet, seeing how she has used any item. So perhaps depending on the encounter, or perhaps in the future, we're going to switch around our Iron Stones a little bit. Alright, we cannot identify that. By the way, oh yeah, of course we rested. We don't have our buffed up intelligence anymore, but we do have the second pair of glasses of identification, so we can do all of this no problem. So full plate mail +2, that's the armor Gromnir was wearing, even though he is a barbarian and shouldn't be able to. Then he has Ice Star, a very, very nice Morningstar, +4 enchantment, some fire resistance on it, cold damage that it deals. But the one problem with it is that if you have a Flail/Morningstar specialist, well, you're going to be using Flail of Ages. And not really this one. This could be placed in an offhand for some fire resistance and perhaps, you know, a decent offhand attack. But in most cases, this is just such a shame, because this is an excellent weapon, but Flail of Ages is just even better than that. So we'll see what we're going to do. I'm just going to kind of hold on to it for a while, perhaps. And yeah, that's all the loot, except this very particular helmet that I wanted to talk about last. This is Valor's helmet that normally is sold already in Shadows of Amn in the Adventurer Mart by Daedre, that Planescape Torment vendor, because of course Valor was one of the recruitable companions in that game. And this helmet provides a boost to armor class, but also the most important thing about it is that it can cast Simulacrum. So fighters or clerics that can equip this helmet are going to have access to this very powerful spell that we haven't really used yet in the playthrough, but I am going to showcase it at some point. So this is just an amazing piece of equipment. And here I wanted to talk about it last because this component of SCS that moves Valor's helmet onto Gromnir's head is a great one, but unfortunately with Ascension, that 1.5 beta that I am using for this version of Enhanced Edition, there is some kind of a lack of... I think SCS does not recognize properly that we have Ascension on, and this component that moves Valor's helmet onto Gromnir is supposed to also change his script so that he can use that simulacrum coming from the helmet, so that he can create a lower level clone of himself to make this fight even more interesting, although usually it doesn't really matter all that much. His clone would be like level 14, I think, and with much less HP and whatnot, but it would be another target for us to kill, another source of physical damage for the enemies. But yeah, for some reason this does not get properly recognized when it comes to the version of Ascension I'm using, so that it can even work on Enhanced Edition. So unfortunately I've had this issue before, and I've even tried to like fix the script and do many other things to fix the issue, but it's not as easy as just fixing Gromnir's script, for example, because when it comes to scripts, this is basically... a lot of them function kind of as a network of different scripts and effects and whatnot. So even if you make him use the simulacrum, then the simulacrum itself perhaps does not spawn with the proper script, and it's just kind of an unfortunate thing that this specific combination of Ascension and SCS that we have running in on our version of Enhanced Edition does not include that particular component. But at least we didn't have access ourselves to Valor's helmet, and we're probably going to limit its use. Even now that we have it, we're going to limit its use until later, probably. And yeah, that's been Gromnir Il-Khan's Ascension encounter. Very fun, trying to kind of maneuver between all of these different opponents. It went pretty smoothly for us, and so Gromnir's reign of Saradush comes to an end. So for now, I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll see you in the next one.